Mariana stepped off the bus with a heavy backpack and heavier thoughts. The small town was nothing like New York City, where she had dreamed of studying. But tuition was expensive, and staying with Uncle Biru was the only way she could afford college. He had offered his guest room in a quiet house just outside the city, and it sounded like a blessing at the time. The neighborhood was strangely silent. No barking dogs, no children playing, just trees swaying as if whispering secrets to one another. Uncle Biru greeted her at the front door with a wide smile and arms that wrapped around her just a bit too tightly. "You look just like your mother did at your age," he said. His breath was warm against her ear. The house smelled like mothballs and burned herbs. It was dim, with old wood floors that creaked under the weight of silence. His wife Aunt Mira said hello but avoided eye contact. Their daughter, Lila, barely spoke at all and spent most of her time staring out the window. Mariana's room was upstairs, the guest room. Small, dusty, but private. A crucifix hung above the bed, but it was upside down. She reached up to fix it, but her fingers hesitated. Something about it felt intentional. That night, as Mariana unpacked her clothes, she heard it for the first time, a soft knock on her wall. She paused, listened. Another knock, slow and steady. But when she opened the door, the hallway was empty. Maybe the pipes, she thought. Or maybe the house just creaked like old houses do. But when she turned off the light, a cold draft slipped under the door. And somewhere, faint but clear, a voice whispered her name. Mariana woke up at 3 in the morning. Not because of an alarm, not because of a nightmare. She simply opened her eyes wide awake, with the sense that something was watching her. The room was still, but too still, like the world had stopped breathing. She reached for her phone, but it was dead, even though she had charged it the night before. The digital clock beside the bed blinked once and then went black. No electricity, no signal, just silence. From the hallway, she heard a sound, footsteps. Slow, deliberate, like bare feet on old wood. She froze, her breath caught in her throat. The guest room door was closed, but not locked. The knob turned slightly, and not all the way, just enough to make a soft click. Then silence again. When she finally gathered the courage to open the door, the hallway was empty. But the family photos on the wall had changed. The one of Uncle Biru smiling with his arm around his wife. Now, his face was scratched out, deep grooves torn into the photograph as if by fingernails. At breakfast, Mariana mentioned the power outage. Uncle Biru raised an eyebrow. "We didn't lose power," he said. "Your room, maybe. These old outlets can be temperamental." Aunt Mira said nothing. She stirred her tea without drinking it. Lila just stared at Mariana with eyes that looked too old for her face. Later that day, Mariana explored the house while Uncle Biru was in the basement. Every door upstairs creaked with age, but one door wouldn't open at all in the attic. A heavy chain locked it from the outside. There were strange symbols carved around the frame, blackened by what looked like soot. She leaned in to inspect the carvings, but a sharp voice behind her stopped her cold. "Don't go near that door," Aunt Mira said. Her face was pale. "Some things are better left alone." Mariana nodded, but deep inside, she knew. Whatever was behind that door was already reaching out to her. That night, the smell returned. Stronger than before. Not quite smoke. Not quite rot. Mariana couldn't describe it, only that it clung to her skin like cold oil. It seeped through the cracks in the walls and under the door, and it followed her into sleep. She dreamed of fire. A woman stood in the middle of a burning circle, screaming soundlessly, her hands bound with red cloth. Shadows surrounded her, chanting in a language Mariana did not know. One of them stepped forward, holding a knife carved from bone. Just before the blade touched the woman's throat, Mariana woke up, drenched in sweat, gasping. In the mirror, her eyes looked sunken. Her skin was pale. She felt like she hadn't slept in days, even though it had only been one night. During dinner, Uncle Biru asked her about school, about her classes, about her plans. His tone was pleasant, but his eyes never left her. Not even once. Mariana couldn't eat. The stew tasted like dirt, or maybe it was just her nerves. After the meal, Lila slipped her a small folded paper under the table. No words, just a hand-drawn symbol, a circle with 3 lines through it, and what looked like an eye in the center. Mariana tried to ask what it meant, but Lila just whispered, "He watches everything." Later, while brushing her teeth, Mariana noticed something strange. Her toothbrush was wet before she used it. Her towel was damp, though she hadn't touched it since morning. And when she looked into the bathroom mirror, just for a second, Her reflection didn't move with her. She stepped back. The lights flickered. From the hallway, a soft voice called, "Mariana!" She rushed out, but the corridor was empty. Only the attic door stood there, silent and locked. Still chained. But this time, the symbols around it were glowing faintly red. The next morning, Mariana waited until Uncle Biru left for work. He always disappeared into the basement early, locking the door behind him. Aunt Mira moved slowly around the kitchen like a ghost, her eyes distant, her hands trembling when she touched anything made of metal. Lila was gone. No one told Mariana where she went. With the house quiet, Mariana crept back to the attic door. The chain still held, but the carvings looked fresh now, not aged, not cracked. Like someone had etched them just hours ago. She leaned closer and whispered the symbol Lila had drawn for her. The wood groaned, but nothing opened. She turned away, when she noticed the crack in the floorboards near the hallway corner, barely noticeable, but something about it called to her. She found a screwdriver in the kitchen drawer and pried the boards loose. Beneath them was a bundle wrapped in cloth and tied with twine. She hesitated, heart racing, then unwrapped it. A book, bound in leather, old and worn, with pages made from something that wasn't paper. The language inside was unreadable, jagged symbols, spirals, in diagrams of human bodies surrounded by candles and stars. In the back of the book, one phrase was written in English. "Blood is the key. Family is the door." Mariana slammed the book shut. That night, Uncle Biru stood at her doorway as she pretended to sleep. She kept her eyes closed, her breathing slow. "I know you've been exploring," he said softly, his voice calm and smooth. "Curiosity can be dangerous, especially in this house." She didn't move. He lingered, then walked away, his footsteps echoing down the hall like a countdown. And just as she began to breathe again, she heard it. The chain on the attic door, sliding free. Mariana didn't sleep that night. She listened. The attic door had opened. She was sure of it. And yet, when she stepped out of her room in the early morning, the hallway was untouched. No footprints, no open door. But there was something new. A red trail, thin as thread, snaked across the wooden floor, leading from the attic to the basement stairs. It looked like paint, but the smell told her otherwise. She followed it. At the bottom of the stairs, the basement door stood open. For the first time, it was unlocked. Light flickered from below, not warm like a lamp, but sickly and green. She took a step, then another, her breath shaking. The basement was filled with candles. Hundreds of them. On the walls were symbols matching the book. Spirals, eyes, bleeding stars. In the center of the room stood Uncle Biru, shirtless, his skin covered in black ink. He didn't look surprised to see her. "You were always meant to see this," he said, smiling. "You carry her blood. That's all I need." Behind him, Aunt Mira was kneeling, eyes empty, whispering to herself. Lila was beside her, arms bound in red cloth, just like in Mariana's dream. "No," Mariana said, stepping back. But the door slammed shut behind her. "You can't run now," he said, raising the knife. "Your family." Then everything went dark. And just as the blade came down the screen fades to black. Like this video if you're still breathing. Subscribe if you want to know what happened to Mariana. And remember, some doors should never be opened.